See, at times what can happen is that you may sign a lease contract, but when you analyze the lease contract, you may realize that you are getting a right of using multiple assets. So legally speaking, there is going to be a single lease contract, but that single lease contract is giving you a right of using more than one asset. So an accounting issue arises. Because legally there is a single contract, should I treat it as a single accounting contract as far as accounts is considered? Or because I am getting a right of using multiple assets, should I treat the right of using each and every asset as a separate lease contract insofar as accounts is considered? So there is guidance given in Ind AS 116 with respect to this matter. Should we give importance to substance over form? That's the question that we are arising over here. Substance of the transaction should be given importance, or the form of the transaction is to be given importance. Form of the transaction is that there is a single contract. Legally speaking, I have only one lease contract, but that lease contract has multiple assets. Shouldn't I treat every asset as a separate lease contract? So when can separation be carried out? Okay. So Ind AS 116 says that sometimes there are contracts that contain rights to use multiple assets, agreed. The right to use each such asset is considered as a separate lease. When will separation be done? Separation will be done if these two conditions are satisfied. They are saying only if both the following conditions are satisfied, the lessee can benefit from the use of the underlying asset on its own or together with other resources that are readily available to the lessee, and the underlying asset is not highly dependent on or highly interrelated with other assets. Okay, these are not new conditions for us. Earlier, when we were discussing about the scope of Ind AS 116, we had discussed about low value asset exemption. Okay, same conditions are there even over there. See, here it is, the leases of the low value assets. And if you will study, it is the same conditions that we are studying right now. So it's a repetition of those conditions. But earlier we were using those conditions to find out whether we can consider it to be a low value asset. The same conditions are now going to be applied to figure out whether separation can be carried out or not. If these two conditions are getting satisfied, we will consider the right of using each and every asset as a separate lease. Okay. Let us say we have entered into a lease contract for a furnished flat. Okay, we enter into a lease contract for a furnished flat. So we are signing a single lease contract. But if you analyze this particular contract carefully, you are having two assets over here. One is flat and another is the furniture. Okay, we have basically negotiated it as a single package, agreed. But the moment you say it's a furnished flat, you are having a flat. Flat is nothing but a part of a building, isn't it? While furniture obviously is distinct from the part of the building. So we are having two assets over here, although legally speaking, there is only a single lease contract. Question is, should I consider the right of using the flat as a separate lease? Should I consider the right of using the furniture as a separate lease? So this is the point that arises over here. Okay, so we will now like to apply these conditions and figure out whether separation is necessary, yes or no. In one, as I said, the lessee can benefit from the use of the underlying asset. Let us consider the underlying asset over here as the furniture on its own or together with other resources that are readily available to the lessee. And the second condition, the underlying asset, which is nothing but the furniture over here. The furniture is not highly dependent on or highly interrelated with other assets. So that's the question. Can we use the furniture on its own? Let us say the furniture is the dining table over there, the chairs over there, the sofa sets in that particular flat. Can we use that on their own? Can we use it without the flat? Without the flat, the dining table will not really make any sense. Without the flat, the chairs will not make much sense, isn't it? Without the flat, the sofa sets will not make really any sense. And similarly, all this furniture, they are saying it is not highly dependent. But the fact of the matter is that the furniture is highly dependent or highly interrelated with other assets. With other assets, we mean the flat over here. Furniture makes sense only when it is available within the four walls of the flat. Otherwise, that furniture is not making any sense. I will not pay separate money for furniture if I am not getting a flat along with it. So one can say that we will not carry out a separation. I will consider the furnished flat, although it is having two assets, I will consider it as a single, right? I'll consider it as a single lease contract. But let us put it in this way. Let us say it is something in this way. You are having a contract for a lease contract for furnished flat and a car. Let's say, and a car. You are signing a single lease contract, and in that single lease contract, you are getting a furnished flat as well as a car. As far as the furnished flat is considered, we have understood that it is a single lease contract. But now compare the furnished car, let's compare the furnished flat and the car. What do you really say? Can we do separation this time? Okay, once again, apply these conditions. Instead of furniture, change it to car. Here also change it to car, right? It is a single lease contract. In the single lease contract, I am getting a furnished flat as well as a car. Now, can I use the car on its own or with resources readily available? The answer, of course, is yes, right? I can. Even if I do not have a furnished flat, think in this way, even if I do not have a furnished flat, I can still make use of the car, isn't it? And similarly, the car is definitely not dependent on the flat. The car is definitely not interrelated with the other assets, which in our example is the flat. So this clearly means that although legally you have signed a single lease contract, as far as accounts is considered, furnished flat is a separate lease, car is a separate lease. Both of them should be accounted separately, right? We have a question based on this. They are saying respond on the basis of Ind AS 116. Okay. A lessee enters a lease of an excavator and the related accessories. For example, the excavator attachments that are used for mining purposes. The lessee is a local mining company that intends to use the excavator at a copper mine. Is it a single lease component? You are having excavator and the related accessories. So these are the two assets which are there. What do you say? What do you say? Excavator and the related accessories. Here it is. Just clear it up for you. We are talking about the accessories over here. Can the lessee, right? The underlying asset over here. This is the underlying asset. We are talking about the accessories which are attached to the excavator, right? Can we enjoy the benefit of the accessories on its own? And are the accessories not highly dependent? Because the accessories are attached to the excavator, I will get the full benefit of the accessories only if I have the excavator. In other words, the accessories and the excavator are highly interdependent, are highly interrelated. And if they are highly interrelated, we will consider it as a single lease component, isn't it? So they say lessee would be unable to benefit from the use of the excavator without also using the accessories. So the two are interdependent. Contract contains only one lease component. Yeah, in B they are saying assume the same facts as in A above, except that the contract also conveys the right of use of an additional loading truck. This loading truck could be deployed by the lessee for other uses. For example, to transport the iron ores at another mine. Is it a single lease component? So you are now having an excavator along with the accessories plus a truck. Now, truck and the excavator are not interrelated, right? I can use the truck for other purposes. They are themselves saying over here that this loading truck could be deployed by the lessee for other uses. This clearly means that I can use the truck on its own or with resources that are readily available to me, and the truck is not dependent, the truck is not interrelated with other assets. So excavator along with the accessories is one lease component. Truck is a separate lease component. This time separation is possible. Truck can be used independent of the excavator. Lease contains two lease components, excavator along with the accessories and the loading truck. So we will treat them as two separate lease components, and accordingly the accounting will be carried out.